This week on the 6th of June, Etsy released their Etsy Purchase Protection Scheme. This is something that they announced through email and on their YouTube channel. Now, what does this mean for Etsy sellers? How does this affect you? And what does it mean going forward? We're going to cover all of that in the next 3 minutes. Let's get straight into it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's go. So, Etsy's email states, and I quote, "We understand that as small business owners, you may need extra support from time to time when things go wrong with an order. So today, we're excited to announce a new program that directly invests in our sellers and provides more support when the unexpected happens, the Etsy Purchase Protection." Now, with this new program for qualifying orders up to $250, or the equivalent in pounds or euros or whatever you're operating in, including postage and taxes, Etsy will refund buyers and you'll keep the earnings if you meet their criteria. Now, the criteria is A, the buyer never received their package, for example, if it was lost in transit, not your fault, or B, their item was arrived damaged for the first instance per calendar year. So what this basically means is you are limited to how many times you can apply, receive this purchase protection, but that's the criteria that you need to meet. So this Etsy Purchase Protection Program does not cost a thing to you as an Etsy seller. The cost does not get passed on to your customers either. It's a completely free additional extra that you as an Etsy seller receive. The reason they're doing this is a couple of months ago, I think actually in April, they increased their transaction fees. I've got a video on it here, which I'll put a link to, but basically they said, we're increasing our transaction fees so we can invest in our platform, invest in features that will help the sellers and the customers. This is basically backing that up. This is something that introducing, and they're saying that we are investing the money that you're giving us through the transaction fees. We are reinvesting in the platform into tools which are now helping you, which you can now benefit from, this purchase protection scheme being one of them. So how does this affect you as the Etsy seller? This doesn't affect your day-to-day whatsoever. You can continue to go about your day as you would normally. You can continue to make sales, make listings, and it does not affect you. When it affects you is when problems occur. So for example, your customer doesn't get an item, they create a case, maybe it's been lost in the mail, maybe it's been damaged in the post, but as long as you've got tracking information and it's up to that $250 boundary, then Etsy will now basically refund the customer at no cost to you, meaning that you keep your earnings and the customer gets the money back from Etsy. This is pretty huge because at the moment you'll basically take on the liability. And when it came to the pandemic and there was a lot of shipping delays and buyers were making cases against you and complaining, Etsy would issue the refund and it would come out of your earnings. That would be your cost. Whereas now, if that happens on the rare occasion where it does, now Etsy will refund that customer and you keep your earnings. This means it doesn't eat into your profit margin as much. You still have the money to reinvest in your business. This means that you're not constantly worrying or stressing about items getting lost in the post or customers complaining, because Etsy now have said to you in this email that they have your back, that they're going to support you through this scheme. I wouldn't be surprised that in the future other things like this come up as well when they introduce other things, because this is what they're doing. They're trying to show support for the sellers as well as the buyers. So what's eligible for an Etsy purchase protection? So for an order to be eligible, it needs to have valid tracking information. I know I've already mentioned that, and or has been dispatched using postage labels purchased on Etsy. In countries where postage labels are available, purchasing a postage label on Etsy is a great way to help ensure your order's eligibility. You also have to have an estimated delivery date, and it has to be dispatched on time. So your product, your listing, it has an estimated delivery date and it has to be dispatched on time. If you're dispatching it 10 days after the estimated date and then it gets lost in the mail and then the customer complains, you're not going to be eligible for this purchase protection and you won't have Etsy refund the customer. It will be a cost to you. The item also has to be packaged carefully before dispatch. Now this is an odd one because Etsy technically have no way of knowing how you package an item, but it's in the criteria anyway. And use accurate photos and descriptions within the item listing. Again, if it's something where the customer doesn't receive, then I guess they're not ever going to know if you're using accurate photos or descriptions as to what the item's being received. But again, it's on the list, it's on the eligibility list. So we'll go over that one more time. So first one is to have order tracking information. The second one is to have an estimated delivery date. The third one is to be dispatched on time. The fourth one is to be packaged carefully, and the fifth one is to use accurate photos and descriptions within the item listing. The other important thing to know about this is that it starts on the 1st of August, so still a bit of time before it comes into play. Now, the update on the website, which I'll link below so you can take a further look at it yourself, also says that you don't have to take any action for this to come into place. It's eligible for anyone who meets the criteria, any Etsy seller. It does say, however, that you need to be able to keep your shop in good standing. These are also additional criteria that they check. Keep your shop in good standing. That means no violations against Etsy policies. And the fact that your shop has to have all the policies, especially important to have policies for returns, exchange, and customer orders. You need to have all these in place for if they come to check that and you don't have it, you might not be eligible. So just bear that in mind. Go over all the criteria. There's a long list. I've only covered like several points, but I'll post it down in the description so you can have a better look for yourself. So going forward, it's good to be aware of this. 1st of August onwards, this will be an option for you. Just something to be aware of going forward. Doesn't directly impact you now, but it might do in the future. But thanks ever so much for watching. That's all from me. If you like the content, then do check out my other videos because I talk about Etsy a hell of a lot every week actually. So do check out my other videos. Thanks ever so much for watching. Got any questions, hit them down below, and I'll see you in the next one.